Made in America, the industrial photography of Christopher Payne. Black gear bags are removed from the back of a van by a small, trim man with graying hair and medium-light skin tone. General Pencil Company, Jersey City, New Jersey. The man wheels the bags into a factory, dressed in a t-shirt and ball cap. Amidst old industrial equipment and cardboard boxes, he peers through glasses and works on a laptop. Nearby, iron and steel assembly line equipment churns out new pencils. The man sets up tripod lighting and a professional camera. He takes artful and dramatic photos of pencils being built, sharpened, and sorted by vintage machines. Later, in an office, the man sits for an interview.
Okay, cool. So, you ready?
I am ready as I will ever be. Pencil? Can I keep my pencil or not?
I think that's cool characteristic.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, first question. Could you introduce yourself, your name, occupation, and a brief overview of this exhibition?
Yes.
Photos flash by, all featuring high-tech and industrial landscapes, components, and workers.
My name is Christopher Payne, and I'm an architectural and industrial photographer, and this is an exhibition called Made in America.
A photo shows American flag posters being printed on a vintage machine,
Which is showing 72 of my large format photographs that I've made over the past 15 years of American manufacturing in factories.
Payne stands at a pencil assembly line, considering a photo on his laptop. Nearby, a worker tidies a stack of pencils.
Because she actually does that. They have to monitor like how much is, they have to load it in the hopper, and then they have to kind of shake them up a bit so they all work their way down. Sometimes they get stuck, but I wanted to get a human hand in there because I don't, in all the other pictures I made years ago, there weren't, a lot of these machines are just machines and they don't have that human element. So seeing her do that was, sometimes these things just happen spontaneously for a good reason.
The worker reaches into an old steel hopper as Payne takes pictures with his camera and laptop.
Yeah.
He watches her work, then holds up his hands, gesturing for her to freeze. The resulting photo features the woman arranging pencils in the hopper, which then travel along a conveyor belt to another worker. The woman is shown the photo on Payne's laptop.
Famosa. So we'll get some pictures of you. They're good. Muy bonita.
In the office,
I'm trained as an architect, but ironically, I had no interest in photography when I was a kid growing up in Boston. My dad was an amateur photographer, and my interest really was the old architecture of Boston and the infrastructure, especially the old subways.
greasy steel subway cars are photographed in a repair yard.
But I didn't buy my first real camera until I was 30.
Architectural photos flit
I
by.
was just out of grad school, and I was working during the week in an architecture firm, and on the weekends, I was embarking on a personal project to document these abandoned electrical substations that had once powered the New York City subway system. I was trying to draw these massive machines, which I didn't understand, and the drawings were a way of understanding them. But I found that I didn't have time to finish these drawings on site, and so I had to take pictures. But gradually, I enjoyed making the pictures more than I did the drawings. And so I would lock myself inside these decrepit old structures, and I would use them as this laboratory to learn how to make pictures and use lighting. But most people thought I was crazy, but I thought I was the luckiest person in the world, because in a city of millions, I had found something that I could call my own.
Light pours through skylights in a factory ceiling. Alstom, Hornell, New York. In an Alstom train factory, a large iron hook is raised in the air. Wearing neon safety vests and company ball caps, Payne and a small group tour the facility. Payne mounts his camera on a tripod, connects it to his laptop, and snaps a picture.
I feel like today is variations of the same picture.
He peers over his glasses, considering the clean, modern factory.
Hopefully the best one will emerge by the end of the day.
Payne tidies the inside of a seemingly dissected, half-built train car, then shines a handheld light on one of the cabin's finished walls. He adjusts a tripod and consults with a man wearing safety coveralls. He checks his laptop, adjusts his camera, and takes a photo. The result is a series of images which includes a view into the train cabin, past bundles of wires, tubing, and electrical panels normally covered by painted metal sheathing.
Walking into a factory where you can't see end to end, it's overwhelming. And trying to find the right picture is like looking up at this beautiful tree and trying to pick out the right leaf to photograph. Moments that are unique to that place and process, and this could be a particular machine that's really cool, or a detail that is kind of emblematic of the whole.
Colorful, detailed photos flit by.
When something is almost finished and still in a state of deconstruction, so that it's familiar, but sort of also abstract, so that we see it in a new and interesting way. Ideally, I'm looking for that aha, so that's how they do it moment.
He takes a photo of two men working under the curved nose of a high-speed train.
Given my architectural background, I can't but help look for an underlying geometry around which I can organize and compose the photo. Another example in the show is the overhead view of the tipping machine at General Pencil.
A row of pencils stretches across the image.
And here I chose to use the repetition of the pencils as this compositional tool. And by looking at it from above and getting that repetition to create a grid, I'm making it more understandable.
Bright, complex photos flit by.
When possible, I use dramatic lighting to focus on the worker, to create theatrical effect, and also to obscure all the visual clutter that is omnipresent in factories. One of my favorite pictures in the show is of the welders welding a bus frame at the BYD factory in California.
Highlights are shown.
And here, the frame of the bus is literally a grid, a framework upon which I was able to compose the photo. Once that was set up, it becomes almost like a stage set upon which the actors, the welders, can do their part. And so there's this rigid kind of composition and then this organic activity happening within it.
Welding sparks cascade off the grid-like bus frame. In the Alstom factory,
Wait for these guys to move out of the way. And then we'll go do that one. Do this one. This one, that's still a nice one. Yep.
Payne considers his camera setup, then walks through the dark facility, heading toward a bright, distant exit.
In 2010, I discovered an old yarn mill in Maine that reminded me of the state hospital workshops that I had photographed for my book Asylum. And while those places had long been abandoned, this mill was still intact, fully functioning, like a scene out of the past. And I returned there and got to know the employees, and they told me about other mills in New England and in the Northeast, and gradually this project took off. But from the textile project, I moved on to other industries, other factories. And so gradually I started traveling around the country, photographing this and that, and I realized that the story I was trying to tell was much broader than one place or one industry. It was really about the nation as a whole. And that's how Made in America started.
Details of specialized industrial machines are shown, along with planks of wood bent into fluid curves. Workers use vintage equipment, cranking cast iron gears, applying wood glue with fingertips, chiseling, drilling, and sanding delicate wooden parts by hand. Wooden piano hammers are added to an orderly frame, then checked and tested at several stages of assembly and installation. Ivory white keys lie flat in a row, and a baby grand's black finish is buffed. Collections of matching piano parts are photographed, including keyboards, curved grand piano frames, and unfinished plywood lids. Steinway & Sons, Queens, New York.
I don't consider myself a portrait photographer, but I love making environmental portraits of people who've been doing this for a lifetime, immersed in what they do best. I want to honor them and distill in one frame a lifetime of work and craftsmanship.
Payne walks the factory floor.
I know you. What's going on, man? How you doing, man? Good to see you. You all right? You're down here now. You're everywhere. You're everywhere.
In a photo, a black woman tests piano keys.
I know her.
There you go.
Let's see if she remembers me. I know. I'm sorry. We're intruding on your lunch break.
He finds the woman testing another keyboard.
Been a long time, yeah.
Been a long time, right?
I have that picture, yes. Graduated 32 years, it's a long time.
32 years here doing this, right?
No.
Not us.
Okay, let's see what the key wants. Now it's taking the weight, but is it going to give me a return?
She places tiny weighted cubes on a piano key.
I don't like the see the hesitation. So instead of 3 large, it's taking 2.5. And that's what I'm going to put in there. I mark 2.5. The next one might don't take the same thing, because they're all different. So you have to find the right position.
She rearranges the cubes.
And that's what I'm looking for. You'll know when it's too much, or you'll know when something is wrong, because the hesitation will show you. So you have to pay attention to it to see.
Payne leans in and stares, fixated on her process.
It has been years since I photographed that first yarn mill in Maine when I began this journey. And yet, still, every time I enter a factory, I still feel that same sense of possibility. And I wonder why this project still resonates with me, why I still love to do it. And it's probably because there's always some new process to learn about, some place that I haven't visited, or some old factory waiting to be discovered. But I think at its core, the reason why I like it and why I continue to work on it is because it's about the making of things.
In different factories, workers buff piano parts, guide pencils out of hoppers, build trains, and clean half-assembled baby grands.
Made in America is about the making of things. There are workers in hard hats and steel-toe boots, while others are dressed head to toe in clean room protective gear. Young and old, skilled and unskilled, recent immigrants and American-born men and women working side by side. These are the people who make the stuff that fuels our economy. And in this time of social and political polarization and anxiety about increasing automation, I'd like to think that they offer a glimmer of hope. To me, Made in America is a celebration of the transformation of raw materials into useful objects, and the human skill and mechanical precision needed to give these materials form and purpose. But it's also about community. Every day, people of varying backgrounds, skill sets, and ages coming together to work towards a common goal.
In a factory, Payne snaps a picture, then checks the image on his laptop. The scene slowly fades to black. Cooper Hewitt, Smithsonian Design Museum.